What you're seeing on the screen right now is what Jeffy from SML movie videos would look like if he was a real human. This image was made using AI, and in this video, I'm going to show you various examples of how SML characters would look like in real life according to artificial intelligence. Let's begin! This is another example of how Jeffy would look like if he was a real human. As you can see, the AI made a pretty good job, but Jeffy looks kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie on that part. And also, the pencil was placed in a pretty weird spot, but ignoring all of that, the image is pretty good and I really like it. I think it actually looks like Jeffy, at the very least a little bit. This is how Cody would look like if he was a real human according to artificial intelligence or AI. As you can see, the result was pretty good and it actually looks like Cody. This is another example of how Cody would look like according to AI, but in my opinion it looks less like Cody and more like Chucky from Child's Play. Maybe it was because I didn't give the AI the proper prompts, but even then I think that at the very least the basic characteristics that Cody has, such as his glasses, his clothes, his hair, and all of those things, at the very least this character has them, so some SML fans might recognize this as Cody. This is another version of how Cody would look like if he was a real human according to AI. It looks at the very least a little bit more like Cody than the previous image, but even then it's still missing something, but I don't really know what it is or how to describe it. This is how Marvin would look like if he was a real human according to AI. It looks extremely similar to Marvin, at the very least his clothes, like his red shirt, his necktie, his pants. And I also tried to describe the SML room as best as I could, like with the red couch and the blue wall. I think it all looks pretty similar to how it looks in SML in the puppet version, with the only major difference being Marvin's hair, since the hair of this character, like he is maybe partially bald but not totally bald on the upper part of his hair like Marvin. This character, yeah, he's partially bald, but he has most of his hair, while Marvin is missing a pretty significant part of his hair. So yeah, but even then, I think that many of us would agree that this character actually kinda resembles Marvin, at the very least to some extent. This is another version the AI made of Marvin from SML if he was a real human. I think this one looks a little bit more similar, at the very least the character. The room looks less similar since the couch looks totally different and the wall looks totally different. It's blue but it's not that blue, and the couch is more like a chair than a couch. But even then, the character at the very least looks more similar, like he's totally bald on the upper part of his head just like Marvin, and the outfit looks extremely similar to that of the real Marvin from SML movie videos in his puppet version. This is another version of Marvin from SML videos if he was a human. It has the same problem as the first image I showed, in which the AI tried to replicate Marvin from SML. The fact that this character has most of his hair, especially on the upper part of his head, while Marvin, is missing a significant part of his hair, especially on the upper part of the head. But even then, it still looks cool. I like how it looks. I like how his arms are all hairy and how he has a watch. I think it was a really cool thing that the AI added. This is Mr. Goodman, or at least how he would look like if he was a real human according to AI. I think it looks extremely similar to Mr. Goodman. And also I really like how the AI added a mansion behind this character as well as a luxurious car, making sure that this image conveys that this character is rich just like Mr. Goodman. In my opinion, it all looks pretty good. It looks fairly similar to Mr. Goodman, with the only exception that this character is extremely overweight. Mr. Goodman definitely is slightly overweight, but not this overweight, or at least I wouldn't imagine or picture Mr. Goodman being this overweight if he was actually a real person, you know? This is another version of Mr. Goodman if he was a real person. It faces the same problem as the previous picture. This Mr. Goodman is more chubby and more overweight than he should be. This is a final version, and I actually like this image in particular because it looks like Tito, you know, like Chili's brother, if he was dressed as Mr. Goodman. So I think it was like, this is something that SML could easily make canon if they wanted. This is another final version in which we have a more cartoonish version of Mr. Goodman. This is how Rose would look like if she was a real person. As you can see, she looks fairly similar. At the very least, her outfit and the room in which she is looks extremely similar to the SML house and to the outfit that Rose wears. But I think that some things that are different are, for example, her hair. Her hair should definitely be shorter, and also her necklace definitely looks a little bit different to that of the plush version of Rose. But if we ignore all of that, this character actually looks at the very least a little bit like Rose from SML. This is Junior from SML if he was a real teenager. It looks fairly similar to Junior. I think at the very least it has all of the main characteristics that Junior has, with the only exception of his horns. But if we ignore that, it actually looks like Junior. This is another version. I also like it, and this version actually has the horns, so it looks more like Junior, or at least more like I would picture it. But I wouldn't picture it being this old. He should probably be younger. This is a final version. I also like it because it also has the horns. This is how Joseph would look like if he was a real human according to AI. I first tried making it a teenager. It looks fairly similar to Joseph, but the release, that's how I would describe it. But I think that Joseph should be more like a early teen or even a kid than an older teenager like this character. So I then tried to make this version. This is way too young, but even then I think that it still looks a little bit like Joseph. This is another version. I also think that it at the release has some of the main characteristics that make Joseph from SML Joseph, you know? Here we have how Braxton from SML would look like if he was a real human. Braxton is also known as Junior's dad. It looks extremely similar to the real Braxton from SML videos in the puppet version, with the only exception that this character has a long beard and Braxton doesn't have a beard. But if we ignore that small detail, it actually resembles Braxton a lot. Finally, the last character I tried to replicate using AI was PJ Crenshaw. You know, I think it looks extremely similar to the PJ Crenshaw from the SML universe in the puppet version, with the only exception that it really shouldn't have a hair as long as this one, but it looks extremely similar, you know? He even has the pajamas and the sunglasses, and I tried to make him be in a classroom. And the hands especially look kind of weird, especially since he is holding a pair of glasses, but they look all weird. You know, the kind of stuff that AI does. But even then, it still resembles PJ Crenshaw a lot. And that's what SML characters would look like if they were real people, if they existed in real life, according to artificial intelligence. Please let me know what you thought about this video in the comments section. Also subscribe if you would like to watch more videos like this one. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!